joins us now. Hal, it's interesting to think about. Reed, 985 days, Whelan, almost 1,300 days, Griner, 146 days, way less. I mean, does LeBron James just lack context and patience at this point?
Brian, obviously he lacks understanding of the whole situation. You know, we have Americans overseas that are held unjustly held in all sorts of countries, Russia, of course, being one of them. Paul Whelan's been there for literally years being held. And what he said, now, this evening, he has put on his Twitter, America's a beautiful country, and he's kind of walked that back a little bit, realizing that his remarks were well, frankly, they were a little bit out of bounds, if you will. You know, he's a billionaire, First Amendment rights, free speech. He can say whatever he wants, but he's also a public figure, and he needs to be a little bit circumspect on this. Hostage negotiations, and this is what essentially it is, are very detailed, and frankly, they're not something done on the public stage. There's a lot being done behind the scenes he just doesn't know about.
Does this does this cause damage? I mean, does him speaking out interfere with what's going on behind the scenes? Could he really be messing things up?
A little bit. I mean, it's too early to tell because this just came out, but it does put undue pressure on the negotiators. Bill Richardson, the former governor of New Mexico, he has been involved with this and Whelan's negotiations, trying to get them back for quite some time. Part of the thing with her pleading guilty, and this gets into, why did she plead guilty? Did she actually get caught with the drugs? Don't jump to conclusions on this. The Russians lie a lot. But a lot of this is if she's guilty, that puts her on a convicted criminal equal status with somebody that they're trying to swap for her. All right. Same is true with Whelan.
I was actually going to ask you that. Yeah, I was going to ask you that. I figured her pleading guilty was a part of this whole calculation and was maybe going to speed things along. Do you think there's going to be a trade? We hear a lot about the merchant of death. Could we trade him for Brittney Griner? Do you think that's going to happen soon?
Well, Victor Boot, the Merchant of Death, the character that Nicolas Cage, epitomized that movie. He's the one they're talking about. There's also somebody else out there they like to trade. I think what they're trying to do is a big trade, get Whelan and Griner back at the same time. That's my guess. I think at some point you'll probably see something happen. I think there's a lot of incentive. But I got to tell you, I can't think of any time in history where it's been more difficult to do a trade with the Russians. The war in Ukraine has changed everything, and you can't say that's this and this is something else. It's all one big picture, and literally what happens on the ground in Ukraine impacts their ability to do this trade.
Yeah, it certainly seems like a very, very tricky time for this. Hal Kempfer, CEO of Global Risk Intelligence and Planning and a retired Marine. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.